again, we're going to be talking about academic integrity, student academic progress. I'm going to be calling it SAP, but in case anyone wants to refer back to it, it's student academic progress. We're going to be talking about what an unearned F is. I might refer to it as UF, what it is and what it's compared to being an F. Civility code, the student handbook, and the university catalog, which just as a heads up, it is accessible in your student portal in case you have no idea where that is. And then of course our Q&A session. So academic integrity, this is the first thing that we're going to be talking about. So academic integrity is pretty much plagiarism. So when we talk about plagiarism, not many students realize that there are different types. So the first one I'm going to be pointing at, I'm going to use a laser pointer so it's like easier for you guys to see. I'm going to make it blue. So the first one we're going to be talking about is presenting the work of another without giving proper credit. This is probably one of the most common types of plagiarism, and sometimes we often do this without realizing it. So what I usually tell students, if you are writing a paper or if you're writing a discussion board and you have information if the idea is not yours and you remember it not being yours, you have to make sure that you give proper citation. As you get through your career at Post, professors are not going to be as lenient when it comes to plagiarism. So it's really good to make sure to give proper credit using APA 7th edition citations. If you have no idea what APA is, especially if you're in your first couple of terms, that's okay. You're gonna get more familiar with it as you move on with your career. But anytime an idea is not yours, please make sure you cite it, whether it be an in-text citation or in your resources. You have to make sure you give proper citation unless it's called plagiarism. Another type of plagiarism is attempting to receive credit for the work of someone else. So this is very common, especially with the use of AI. So AI would fall onto this red box category. So when you submit your work through Blackboard, we have what is called SafeAssign. SafeAssign is a platform or a database where it goes through thousands and thousands of papers from all across the internet, and they make sure that you are not trying to submit something that is not originally yours. So if that ever happens, that is what is called plagiarism. Plagiarism is citing something that is not yours without giving proper credit. So that's another common AI. Post University does allow students to use AI. However, you have to be really careful with it. If you have more questions about it, in your student portal as well as in your Blackboard, there is a whole section about Post University's AI policy. So please be careful when using AI. Do not use AI and think you can submit it because you will get plagiarized. You can use AI to get ideas about things, but if it's not your idea, you have to make sure you cite it. Again, if it's not the idea of your own, you have to make sure you properly cite it, whether it be an in-text citation or whether it be in a reference page. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, that's okay. You're going to start to learn about what APA citations are as you get through your career here at Post, and you're going to become more familiar with it. So the last one is things that students often don't necessarily think about, but you can self-plagiarize yourself. This is what this blue box means. Self-plagiarizing work you previously submitted. This is very common when students are retaking a course. So I've had students think that, oh, just because I received an F, or if I have to retake a course for such and such purpose, I'll just submit the same work as I did last time. Easy peasy, this term is going to go great. However, that's not the case. Again, remember what I said about SafeAssign earlier. SafeAssign is going to recognize your own paper and they're going to say this is plagiarized even though it's your own self. So again, if you are retaking a course, act as if it's like any other brand new course and make sure you complete the work as if it's brand new. You can cite yourself. You can go visit our tutoring center if you do like that. I'll put the tutoring information in the chat, but you can self-plagiarize yourself just as a heads up. If you can think you can get away with it, Unfortunately, you cannot. I've seen a lot of great students think that they can get away with a lot of things, and unfortunately, that does not happen. So I'm going to put our tutoring center in the chat right now in case anyone kind of does want to review it. And then I'm also going to put our library and writing center in case anyone wants to familiarize themselves with APA or just academic integrity stuff, which we will go further on. But this is just an information session for you all. A lot of this can be accessed in the student portal as well, but I do want to make sure that you guys have this just in case. So before I move on more about academic integrity, can I at least get a thumbs up if everyone is okay so far with what plagiarism is and the different types of it? I'm seeing a lot of thumbs up. Perfect. That means at least I'm doing something right. Okay, so now we're going to be continuing on with academic policy. I know this can be a lot of words, but this information is really important. So here at Post, students pretty much perform and submit their own work, original work. We should really underline original work and or give proper credit when incorporating the work of others. So that's what I mentioned earlier. If a thought is not your own, you have to make sure you properly cite it. And the tutoring center can help you with that along with your professors. Post-university faculty, administration, and staff are dedicated to ensure positive education experience for every student, and we do have different academic integrity infractions. So if you think that you can plagiarize 3 or 4 times and get away with it like it's nothing, unfortunately not. There are different types of infractions, which will go over the next few slides, but that's why we highlighted it will not be tolerated, and unfortunately there are consequences with each infractions. So these infractions may involve any unethical behaviors, similar to what we talked about in the slide here with the 3 examples of plagiarism, whether it be you attempted to receive credit for the work of others, you didn't cite the proper credit, or you even self-plagiarized yourself. So an example of some academic integrity infractions include plagiarism, which is just what we talked about. Cheating, which is where I had seen some cheating. So even though we are online, you can still cheat. Unfortunately, I've had a group of students think that they can all create a group chat and submit the same answers and get all of the same grade. And unfortunately, that does not happen. The professor did allow students to remake up the tests, but a lot of people got in trouble. So if you think that you can cheat just because you were in an online school, unfortunately, we will find out. So just as a heads up, don't think you can be slick. Unfortunately, we will find out either way. And this is just falsifying information. That just means you're making a claim that does not have information backed up with it. So that can be an academic integrity infraction. Okay. Okay, come on, slides. Perfect. Okay. So this is pretty much what I talked about earlier about the different types of academic integrity infractions. So in the event that this does happen, there are 3 types. Sometimes there are warnings. So I've had students get an academic integrity warning, and then I've had some students go straight to infraction 1, depending on the severity of this. So usually what happens, we do have an academic integrity office, but your professor might email you or the academic integrity office might reach out to you directly and say, this is what happened. You have infraction 1 for violating our academic integrity policy. And if you see infraction 1, this is what it means. The student is assigned a 0 on the assignment, and you have no opportunity to resubmit. If you get an academic infraction warning, that typically means the professor will allow you to resubmit, might get less credit, but they will allow you to resubmit. Sometimes, however, like I said, depending on the severity of it, you just go straight to infraction 1, which is where you will get a 0 on the assignment, no opportunity to resubmit, and you might have to meet with our academic integrity office to meet with someone and go over the infractions and how to properly cite, depending on what happened. Then we move on to infraction 2. Students are issued the grade of an F in the course. Student is then removed by the registrar from the course which the confirmed violation occurred. So I have seen infraction 2, so don't think it has not happened. I've been here for 3 years and I probably had around 10 students with infraction 2. So if you think you can get away with this and think, oh, infraction 1's not too bad, let me see if I can test it again. No, you will get infraction 2, and unfortunately, I've had students up until week 7, which there are 8 weeks in a term, receive an automatic F in the course because of this. So it doesn't matter at any point throughout the term, you may receive an F and you will have to retake it. You might have to meet with our academic integrity office, but similar to infraction 1, you will get an email about it. And don't just think, oh, I don't remember getting an email about infraction 1. We do have detailed documents, so don't think you can get away with it. We always have a document about when each infraction occurred. And then finally, we have infraction 3. So unfortunately, I've had 10 students have infraction 2, and then probably 5 students have infraction 3. So this is where a student is academically dismissed from the university and they are not eligible for financial reimbursement, and they may not apply for a readmission to the university. So this goes on our file that you are academically dismissed, and we'll have notes about the reason why. So if you think that, oh, just because I got infraction 3, I can just talk to any advisor, unfortunately not. We will have a detailed file on you and you will not be able to return to post-university. I know this is a lot of information thrown at you guys, but is everyone okay so far with what I just explained about the infractions? Perfect. Okay. I'm going to do a lot of check-ins because, like I said, this is very information overload, and I love when I at least get some updates. So I just want to make sure everyone's on the same page and I'm getting a lot of thumbs up. So hopefully no one ever gets to any of these infractions, but God forbid it, in case something does happen, here is what the punishments are for each one. So I know someone mentioned this, but here is our AI policy summary. Like I said, it can be accessed in your Blackboard, but in case anyone is taking notes or at any point they want to take a screenshot, even if it's just for this one, here is our policy about AI with post-university. So we do embrace the use of generative AI tools such as ChatGPT or even Copilot. However, you are allowed to use this, but all work for submitting grading must be in writer's own work. So you can use AI in case you are stuck on an idea, like say if you're trying to write a research paper and you need like a third idea. AI can help you with that, but you have to make sure that you're not just using AI to write your papers. Unfortunately, I had a student last term. They submitted their entire paper and even included the AI responses. So don't think that you can get away with it. Please be responsible when using AI. It's very tricky right now. So overall, you can use it. It just has to be in your writer's own work. So you are responsible for the content that you use or submit, which means please double check what you are submitting. Like my student did not do, she just submitted her work without double checking. And then any work that incorporates information from an AI tool must be acknowledged. So if you do end up using AI, please let the professor know ahead of time. Some professors might not accept AI work, but if you are going to use it and your professor does accept it, it must be acknowledged. Because again, if it's not your own idea, you have to make sure you cite it, and AI is included. So if you have any questions about AI, again, it's in your Blackboard and you can visit the University Academic Policies page in Blackboard or in your student portal. Is everyone okay so far with the use of AI? I know that's pretty common nowadays, but I want to make sure everyone's thumbs up. Perfect. Okay. And as a reminder to everyone, we do have a lot of people in this chat, so please make sure that comments are about tonight's topic. If you have any questions, please give the advising line a call, but please make sure that tonight's topics or chats are going to be about our academic policies. Okay. So now we're going to be talking about satisfactory academic progress, or what we as advisors call it, because we deal with this a lot. We're going to call it SAP. So I hope that no one is ever going to be under this SAP situation, which we're going to call academic warning, and we will explain later on as slides. But in order to verify academic progress and determine federal aid funds, Post University does follow the Federal Student Aid Handbook, so that pretty much we have to follow minimum academic standards for measuring student success and academic progress. How we measure it is two things. It can either be academic pace. So academic pace is credits earned over credits attempted. So it's a pace percentage. So that's why, in case you want to go over, let me go actually on the academic policies and procedures and share my screen so you guys can see it, because I believe that the screenshot is blurry. So I do want to make sure that you guys can see the chart because it is really important. Okay. Just trying to find the chart, guys. I should have done this earlier, so I apologize. Okay. So this is how Post University measures things. It's going to be by your PACE, which is credits earned over credits attempted. So that means the more time that you have to retake a course, either because you withdrew or you failed, that affects your academic pace. And within the amount of credits you have to maintain a certain PACE percentage. We do have a slide that goes over PACE more. And you can also be measured for your academic success based on your GPA or grade point average. So SAP runs for both online and main campus students, both undergrad, certificate, and graduate students. I'm not sure how many graduate students are on here, but we will have a slide for graduates just in case students, if they do want to continue on with us, just in case they want to see what it's all about. So we are going to be going over the different charts. I just want to make sure we go through SAP first before sharing my screen and then going through the charts. So remember how I talked about academic integrity and then how you can be dismissed if you hit a certain number of infraction. So you can also be academic dismissed for not meeting a certain GPA, which we just went over as grade point average, as well as your academic pace. However, if you are a new student, meaning this is your very first term, you can be academically dismissed if you receive an F. Because a lot of the times when you are in academic warning, it typically means you are past your first term and you have 2 terms to get off academic warning. However, if you are in your first term, that's why it's really important. If you are in your first term and you receive an F, which is a 0.0 GPA. Unfortunately, you do not have a chance to bring up your GPA and you will be dismissed before being on academic warning. So again, academic warning is when students do not meet a certain grade point average and or academic pace past their first term. They typically will get notified in an email about being on academic warning. Your advisor will let you know why you're on academic warning. You will have 2 terms to get off academic warning. So we're on term 2 right now. So say if you get an email beginning of this term saying you're on academic warning, you have term 2 and term 3 to follow your academic warning plan to get off the academic warning status. However, if you're on your first term and you receive an F, you will not have the opportunity to be on 2 terms to get off warning status. Instead, you will be automatically dismissed. Is everyone okay so far with what academic warning is, how you were on it, and the risk of being dismissed? I'm seeing a lot of thumbs up. Okay, because this can sometimes be really confusing. So if I need to go over it again, please just let me know. Okay, so again, we're going to be going over GPA and everything, but this is for my graduate students. So if anyone is a graduate student here, meaning they're in their master's program, if you have a C minus or below, which is a D plus and lower, that is considered a failing grade. So students who receive grades lower than a C minus have to repeat the course, and failure to do so can put them at risk of academic warning and dismissal. So just to let everyone know, because I forgot to mention this earlier, graduate students, in order to graduate, you have to maintain a 2.0 GPA. Undergraduate students have to maintain a 2.0 GPA to graduate. Graduate students have to maintain a 3.0 GPA. So that's anything above a C minus, that's considered a 3.0 GPA. If you receive a C minus or below at any point in your graduate program, not undergraduate, just graduate, you have to retake the course. This does involve both main campus and online students as well, being on academic warning. So now I am going to go over, I'm going to share my screen so you guys can understand the GPA portion. Des, can you make sure you can see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, because it's loading for me, so I just want to make sure. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So this is the screen that I tried showing earlier, but it was really blurry, so I just want to make sure that everyone can see this. This is our academic policies and procedures, which I will share in the chat after. But you can be on academic warning for your GPA. So when you hit a certain amount of credits, you're supposed to maintain a certain grade point average. So this is for undergraduate students. So if you are an undergraduate student, meaning you are in an associate's or in a bachelor's degree, listen up because this involves you. When you are between 0 to 12 credits, you have to maintain a 1.5 GPA or above. If you are not meeting a 1.5 GPA and you're in the 0 to 12 credit threshold, unfortunately, you will be placed on academic warning and you have to follow your academic warning plan to bring that GPA up to a 1.5. If you are in 13 to 30 credits and you're in your associate program, associate programs are only 60 credits long. Bachelor programs are 120. So if you're in an associate program and you're between 13 to 30 credits, you're supposed to be maintaining a 1.7 GPA. Before I go further, if you have no idea what your GPA is, you can go on your unofficial transcripts in your student portal, or you can call the advising line and we can tell you. But again, if you have not received an email about being on academic warning, then you are maintaining the GPA you need to get off this status. But if you are between 13 to 30 credits in your associate program, that means you're supposed to maintain a 1.7 GPA or higher. If you are in 31 to 60 credits, you're supposed to be maintaining a 2.0 GPA. So 31 all the way until your last credit, which is 60 credits. In order for you to graduate, you have to maintain a 2.0 GPA. I repeat, for undergraduate students, you have to maintain a 2.0 GPA to graduate. So it's really important that if you start to fall behind and you don't think you're going to hit that 2.0 GPA, please give the advisor line a call and we can help you come up with a game plan. But this is for an associate program. Bachelor's programs are 120 credits, so it's going to be really similar at first to the associate program. So between 0 to 12 credits, you have to maintain a 1.5. 13 to 30 credits, which is typically your freshman year still, a 1.7 GPA. Between your sophomore year, which is 31 to 60 credits, you have to maintain a 1.5 GPA. And then anything past your junior and your senior status, which is 61 plus credits, you have to maintain a 2.0. Again, in order for you to graduate If you're in an undergraduate program, which is bachelor's, certificate, and associate programs, you have to maintain a 2.0 GPA. For anyone that's interested in our master's program or is in a master's program right now, we lightly touched upon this, but no matter where you are in your master's program, no matter what credits, you have to maintain a 3.0 or above to graduate. Anything below, you have to retake or you'll be placed on academic warning. Anyone who's in a certificate program, meaning you're not in your associate or bachelor's degree, and you only certificate programs are 30 credits. So when you hit 0 to 12 credits, the grade point average is going to be 1.5 or 3.0, depending on what program you are in. This does include certificate programs again. Between 13 to 30 credits, you have to maintain a 2.0 or 3.0. Again, undergraduate certificate programs, 1.0, 1.5, or 2.0 to graduate. If you're in your graduate certificate program, this is where the 3.0 comes from. So anytime you're in the graduate status, just remember 3.0. If you're in your undergraduate, you still have to maintain a 2.0 to graduate. But if you have less than 12 credits, you're supposed to maintain a 1.5. I'm going to stop sharing my screen because I feel like I've been babbling. Is everyone okay with what I just talked about with the GPA? Perfect. Okay. As a reminder, there are over 100 of you all, so please just make sure that you keep the comments and chats to what we're talking about. So now I'm going to start resharing my screen and we are going to be talking about academic pace, which is what I talked about earlier, but this just has more information. Okay, resume. Okay, so this is what I talked about earlier. So this is pace of completion, which is where the credits that you have attempted so far, and you divide it by the credits that you have attempted. So there is a certain percentage that you have to maintain, similar to when you are talking about GPA. You can be on academic warning for the certain PACE percentage, or your GPA, or both. So we're going to go over the chart as well, but more than likely, the more times that you have to retake a course, that's going to affect your overall academic pace depending on the credits that you are at right now. But what will affect your pace is going to be any withdrawals. When you take a break and come back, you're going to have to retake a course. If you have to retake a course for GPA wise to bring up that GPA, or transfer of credits from other institutions. Okay. So again, PACE percentage does include both main campus and undergraduate or online students as well, no matter what program you are in, whether it be undergraduate or graduate. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to reshare my screen to go over the chart again so everyone's on the same page. Des, let me know if you can see my screen.
Yep, we can see it.
Perfect. Okay. So this can be really similar to your GPA. So if you're in your associate program meeting 60 credits, the pace that you have to maintain is a 50% if you're between 0 to 12 credits. 13 to 30 credits, you have to maintain a 60% pace of completion. And between 31 to 60 credits, no matter what you are in, you have to maintain a 67% pace of completion in order to graduate. So again, what affects your academic pace is going to be withdrawing, which means taking a break in the middle of a term, failing, or earning an unearned F, which we will go over, and sometimes even transferring. For bachelor's program, again, it's going to be really similar depending on the credits from the associate program. 0 to 12 credits, you have to maintain a 50%. 13 to 30, you have to maintain 60. between 31 to 60 and 61 plus credits. So past your sophomore year, you have to maintain a 67% pace of completion. So again, if you do not get an email about being on academic warning, that means your pace of completion is great. You can be on academic warning for either your GPA or your set of completion, which is your pace, or you can even do it for both. But this is for bachelor's programs. So for certificate programs, whether you be in undergraduate or graduate, you have to maintain a 67% pace of completion no matter what credits you are in. And then for anyone that's interested in our master's programs or who is in our master's program right now, similar to certificate, no matter what credits you're in right now, you have to maintain a 67% pace of completion. You can ask your academic advisor about what pace of completion you are at right now, but if you do not get a notification about being on academic warning, more than likely that you're meeting pace. I know this can be a lot, so that's pretty much pace. It's honestly not bad. It's a bunch of math that you guys don't have to worry about. So if you don't get an email, you are okay. I'm going to reshare my screen. I can't believe it's already 7:40 and I'm only on 15 slides. We're going to go a little bit faster. But we pretty much already talked about the pace of completion, so we can skip that one. We already talked about main campus. Okay, so before I move on about SAP warning and what happens if you can't maintain the GPA or pace, is everyone okay so far with the charts that I presented? Perfect. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so now that we understand what pace of completion and GPA is, what happens if you're unfortunately not meeting it? We already touched upon this earlier, but students pass their first term. So again, as a reminder, if you are in your first term and you receive an F in your course, that is considered a 0.0 GPA, and you will not have the academic warning period. You will instead be automatically dismissed. If you are past your first term, meaning you do not have a 0.0 GPA, you are on academic warning for 2 terms. So that's why we said students are on warning are required to retake 2 failed courses during the warning period. So if you got the email earlier this term, that means you're on academic warning for term 2 and for term 3. So for anyone that's an undergraduate level student, that includes courses with a grade of an F or UF during your academic warning period. So if you know you failed a course and your advisor does not have you retaking a course while you're on academic warning, please give us a call and we can make adjustments, because academic warning either means you need to retake that course to bring your GPA up, or it means you need to bring your academic pace up. So it's really important that you retake a course in case you're in that boat. Then for anyone in the graduate level, this includes, remember how I said you have to maintain a 3.0 GPA, which is anything above a C minus. Anything below a C minus, you have to retake. Okay, I know it can be really confusing, but just give your advisor a call and we are able to help you. Let's see, Mary Bacon, I saw that you had a chat, so I don't want to make sure it's ignored. Please give your advisor a call for that question about transfer credits. Kateria about doctorate degree. That's actually a really good question. I'm not sure if you're in your doctorate degree. So give the advising line a call. We can definitely help you with that because that's a great question. Michael, about how do we know if we're on academic warning? You will get notified. So if you are someone that does not check their student email, please make sure you check your student email anyway, but you will get an email in your student email about being on academic warning. So then students on warning are eligible to receive financial aid for the next eligible term or payment period. So remember how we said about 2 terms. Just because you're on academic warning does not mean that your financial aid is going to be suspended just yet. That only happens when you're academically dismissed. And then this is pretty much what we talked about. So we're in term 2. You might have gotten an email about being on academic warning. This just means that you either did not meet a GPA and or the PACE percentage. Over the next few weeks, you're going to get an academic warning plan. That plan you can go over with your advisor, but it's going to outline exactly what you need to do to either bring up your GPA or your overall PACE. So in that academic warning plan, they might give you a certain grade. So say you need to maintain a B- in your classes or above to bring whatever GPA or PACE up. So that's going to be your first warning plan. So say if you have to maintain a B- this term, and say if you get a B+, that means you did better than what your academic warning plan involved. So next term, because remember you have to be on academic warning for 2 terms. So if you get a warning plan for term 2, you're going to get an updated warning plan for term 3. So say if you did really well, you might have a lower grade for term 3 because you did so well in term 2, so there's less pressure for you in term 3. So you might have a D. You just need a D or above to get off academic warning. However, if you are someone that says needs a B+ and you end up getting a D+, for term 3, which is your new warning plan, you might need a higher grade. And if unfortunately you cannot bring that grade up, you will be dismissed from post-university and your financial aid eligibilities will be suspended. This is not in the presentation, but I do want to let you all know, and your advisor will let you know. If you are going to be academically dismissed, you have to take a term off and you can do an academic appeal to return. So say if you're going to be dismissed at the end of this term, which is on October 19th, you have to take term 3, which starts on October 20th. So you have to take term 3 off, and the earliest you could come back and complete your appeal is going to be in January. Again, you can talk to your academic advisor about this because each academic warning plan is individualized to each file. But you have to take a term off and your advisor can go through what an academic appeal is. But is everyone okay so far with SAP? Perfect, perfect. I feel like I'm talking so much. I apologize, guys. I know it's a lot of information being thrown at you, but it is something that will really benefit you, especially no matter like what place you are in your term so far, or degree, I should say. Okay. So this is unearned F. We're going to be going over what that is, and then we are going to be comparing it to what an F is. I'm going to be calling it UF a lot, but for this point in unearned F is the same thing as UF. For students in online programming, faculty members can assign a grade of a UF to a student that does not complete graded academic activity after the midpoint of a course. So pretty much to sum that up, it means after week 4, which is coming up next week. So if you don't participate after next week and you ghost your courses, that's what an unearned F means. It just means you didn't participate in the later half of your program. And what we mean by participate, we mean a discussion board. This is really important because if you do an assignment, it will not count towards your attendance. Attendance here at Post University is with discussion boards. So if you know you're in a course right now that does not have discussion boards every week, especially if you get to Des and I's team, not every course is going to have a discussion board due every week. So that's why it's really important when you do have a discussion board that you work on it to get your attendance. So when a student receives an unearned F, the faculty member will determine the date the student submitted his or her last graded activity, and this will be considered the student's withdrawal date from the course. So this is really important. We're going to go over what an F and a UF means. But overall, when you ghost your courses after week 4, so after the midpoint of a term, and you do not participate in a discussion board, that is what we mean by unearned F, and it does have consequences compared to an F. So if you do earn an unearned F, it's equivalent of being withdrawn from post for that class, and you may be, oh, that's a tough word. It may be required to perform a calculation to determine how much financial aid the student has earned for the term, and it could affect your financial aid. So this is really important. So if you are at the point right now where you are struggling in class and you think that you can just ghost your courses for the rest of this term, you are pretty much, your financial aid was already charged, first of all. So essentially, if you do earn an unearned F, you are retaking a course you have already paid for and you're using more financial aid. A lot of the times my students do not realize this. So again, an unearned F is where you ghost your courses after week 4, and that means you didn't participate in a discussion board. It's not an assignment, it has to be a discussion board because that is how POST does its attendance, for that term. So if you're a visual person like me, here is here's a chart to kind of compare the two. So the difference between an F and a UF. An F still means that 0 credits are earned, similar to a UF. If the course is required, students must retake, similar to a UF. An F still negatively affects the student's pace, so don't think that just because it affects your pace that you're all easy peasy. No, both UF and F negatively affects the academic pace, which we just talked about before with being on academic warning. Again, it's at risk of being academic progress. You are also at risk of being on academic warning if you do earn an unearned F. The main difference between an F and a UF. An F just means you participated after week 4, you tried your best, but unfortunately, you did not get that above 60% for just anyone that's new here. Anything above a 60% is considered a D- or above. Anything below a 60% is considered an F. So if you receive an F, more than likely you got less than a 60%, but that means you participated after week 4. For UF though, it means you did not participate after week 4. Your school status may be modified to withdrawn. Your financial aid may be returned, which means you could have academic and financial consequences, and your academic eligibility and financial aid may be negatively affected. What we mean by that, you may have a balance that you have to pay back, which your financial aid advisor can go over, or worst comes to worst, you may have to take 2 courses. So if you're someone that's used to taking 1 course and you receive a UF, you may have to take 2 courses the next term to make sure your financial aid is okay. So is everyone okay with UF? Basically, do not ghost your courses. That's plain and simple. I use ghost because I feel like that's kind of the lingo nowadays. I'm 25, but I feel like I'm an oldie. Like I really don't know the lingo with Gen Z now. So I get a lot of thumbs up. Perfect. Okay. Promise we're almost done. I know we're at 7:52, but I promise we're almost done. So this is the civility code. So this is really important because this is the interaction that Post University follows, not only with associates, but with fellow students as well, including your own classmates or even your academic advisors, financial advisors, or anyone in our department. Come on, perfect. So the Civility Code, basically what it POST means, it's committed to having an educational environment that welcomes a diverse opinion and experiences which recognize the need to protect independent thought and expression. So what this pretty much means, because it is just a bunch of wording, respect one another. As long as you respect your fellow classmates and you respect the associates here at POST, you're following our Civility Code. So POST does require all students within the community, whether it be academic, social, athletic, online students, main campus students. If you're a student here at POST, no matter where you are, you're going to follow the Civility Code. So it pretty much just means you upload the expectations for wherever you are at POST, when you're on campus, at a POST-sponsored event, online, sporting event. You have to make sure that you are representing POST University in a positive way. Okay, so this is basically a giant paragraph about some of the civility standards that students have to follow. But like I said, respect one another. We do not tolerate bullying, harassing, or being hostile to one another. Remain open minded, listen, and recognize that others may have different voices. You can always communicate and act courteously when expressing one's viewpoint, but don't demean. I think I used that word correctly, but do not bring anyone down. Please make sure that your use of language is respectful, whether it be talking to your students or an associate here. Recognize the importance of having an inclusive environment. So never feel afraid to be yourself. If you are someone that is afraid of being yourself, please give the advising line a call. We want to make sure that you are who you are. This sounds really cheesy, but Post really does make it personal. So if you do not feel that you are yourself here at Post, please give us a call and we can help with a game plan. And this pretty much, it's a really long paragraph. Just respect one another. Just make sure everyone is nice to one another so it's not too bad. So that's basically the civility code. Um, and then violating the civility code, it pretty much means we will not be tolerated and it should be reported in a timely manner. So, what does a civility violation include? So, unfortunately, I am a team lead, so I am someone that deals with a lot of escalated students. So, if you are someone that calls in very angry over the phone and you start swearing at myself or Destiny, since she does take a lot of escalated calls, we will have to remind you about your civility code. So that's why I always say, if you are someone that's angry or emotional, please make sure that you have a game plan going into the phone call. Do not come in all hot and angry because unfortunately it makes it really difficult to help you and there's not really a solution that we can help you with at that time. So if you are someone that's emotional, because I'm also like this too, and can get upset very easily, please hang up or call in when you're in a better mindset. We understand the situation at hand can be upsetting, whatever it may be, but we also want to make sure we help you. So when you are in a better mindset, we are better able to help you. I personally have received a lot. I've been called like names in the book from A to Z from students who are very angry, and it's really difficult to work with them. So I just want to make sure everyone that's here right now knows Post University is there to care about you, and we want to make sure that you are okay. But it's really difficult when emotions take over. So, again, if you are someone like me who can be very emotional, please hang up and call back when you are ready, even if it's through email. Like if you're on the phone and you're like, I can't do this, I'll just send everything in an email. That's okay. Whatever you need to do, we will respect that. But unfortunately, it does happen. So any person reporting a violation, because you as a student can report a civility code as well. It doesn't just have to be an advisor like reminding the student about the civility code. So if you are someone that, say, if you saw something in the Facebook lounge that made you uncomfortable, you can report a violation. You can do so freely without the worry of receiving any form of retaliation, or you can remain anonymous, however you feel comfortable doing it. So consequences of this violation can and may be limited to a warning, and it can be up to an expulsion. I've only had one or two students in my time here be expelled from violating the civility code. Again, it doesn't always happen, but unfortunately, we sometimes do have students that go above and beyond to get to that point. So pretty much respect one another, make sure everyone's okay. But that's pretty much the civility code. It's really not that bad. Make sure you respect one another, and all is Gucci. Okay, so now we're going over to student handbook and course catalog. Heads up, it's in your student portal. So in case you're like, where is it? It's in your student portal. This is the student handbook and course catalog. So if you do want to go over the academic policies and procedures, I have it right here. It has everything that we talked about, especially the charts in case you're a visual person like me. Student handbook is in your student portal. The university catalog, so if you are someone that likes to look up courses, especially ones that might interest you, that's what the university catalog is for. You can kind of see if you're on track with your degree and everything. But that's the course catalog. I know I've been talking a lot, so I'm going to take a sip of water. But how's everyone doing? Is everyone okay, or is everyone bored to death because I've been talking a lot? Yay! I'm getting a lot of thumbs up. Perfect. Okay, I must have done something well. Okay, so now we're going to go over the Q&A session. It's not going to be very long because I've been talking this entire hour. But as a reminder, we have advisors available probably for another 10 minutes or so the most. But if you want to call tomorrow morning, here's the academic advising line. We're going to be going over any questions you may have, and it has to be related to what we just talked about today. Destiny and I are not financial aid, we're not student accounts, and we're not your professor. Any specific questions, reach out to your professor, call the advising line tomorrow morning, and we're there to help you. I am going to put in the chat just in case anyone did come in late. We do have a YouTube channel that does have a recording of this workshop. We have a survey. If you want to fill out the survey and tell us how we did, totally up to you. You can say that Carly did absolutely awful. She didn't answer any of my questions. She went way too fast. Be honest, I'd rather have people be truthful about me. The YouTube page, just in case anyone wants to go back and see that. And then also we have an email just in case anyone wants to make some suggestions or any improvements about the workshops, you can directly email us. But we're going to go over the Q&A session. Thank you, Destiny, for handling the chat. I do want to let you all know that this is Destiny's first time in the chat, and there was over 100 of you guys at that point. So if anyone wants to give a round of applause or reaction to Destiny for helping out the chat, she did amazing answering your guys' questions, and I do appreciate Des so much for helping out, especially with this workshop. This is one of our most popular workshops, and what a workshop to be the first time in. So thank you all. Now we're going to go over the Q&A session. Robin, I see your hand is raised. I'm not sure if it was because of reaction, but I am going to allow your mic just in case you do have a question, if it will let me. Okay, I just allowed for your mic so you can come off mute.
Yeah, no, that was an accident. I didn't even know it was raised for that long. I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. That's okay.
Well, wait, I do have a question. So tomorrow,
Yeah.
Because my computer was hacked, and I all day today they factory reset it, so I have to go and put everything back on there. So I got 0 for yesterday, but can I call you guys to help me get through the rest of I'm only behind 2 units because of this dang computer. So they fixed it for me today. It for me today, but I can call the academic line tomorrow, right?
Yeah, you can call the academic line. We can help you. I would also call your professor or email them just in case you get them a heads up. Okay.
I did. I already did all that, and I called everybody and let them know, and their factory reset it today, and it's like a brand new computer, but I just want my stuff caught up, so I'm gonna call.
Yeah, that's honestly good. I do want to give I forgot to say this earlier. We do have a couple of workshops running tomorrow. I am gonna put it in the chat right now for anyone that's interested. Reminder, all workshops are going to be at 7 p.m. Eastern time. We're always going to be on Eastern time. So if you are not Eastern time zone, just make sure you're okay.
Is it every day?
It typically is every day. We'll let you guys know if it's not, but tomorrow we have 3 workshops running. We have a graduate student. So if you are someone that's in a graduate program, we have one running at 7 p.m. If you are someone that wants to learn more about financial literacy, that's happening at 6 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Central time, 4 p.m. Mountain time, 3 p.m. Pacific time. If you are not in any of those time zones, figure out when 6 p.m. Eastern time is. Okay. And then we have one of the most exciting workshops that a lot of students attend is basic APA style writing. So if you are someone that's really struggling with knowing what APA is, that's happening tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Again, 6 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Mountain time, and then 4 p.m. Pacific time. Nikisha, I apologize if I pronounced that wrong. You do not have to attend all these workshops. These are open for you guys just to attend, so you don't have to come to them if you don't want to. But they're just there as a resource because we know a lot of students work during our hours, so we offer these workshops after hours just to make sure you feel supported.
Do we get graded on these things?
No, these are all voluntary. Okay, Robin, if you don't mind, I'm going to put you back on mute. I'm going to go through the last 3 questions because we were supposed to end at 8, so I do want to respect everyone's time. Thank you so much, Robin. Kenneth, I'm going to put you off mute just in case you do have a question. And Carrie, no, they are not mandatory. These are all voluntary. And Kenneth, you are speaking, we cannot hear. Kenneth, I did allow for your mic, so if you want to come off mute, you can. Perfect, that's okay, Kenneth. Virginia, I am going to allow for your mic just in case you want to come off mute and ask your question.
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, you was talking about the grades. What, like, say if you get like a 80% on assignment, is that a passing grade?
Yes. Let me find the chart for you guys. It's under the academic policies link that I sent you. Anything above a 60% is considered passing.
Okay.
Let me get you that screenshot so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And what I mean about 60%, that's considered for undergraduate students. If you were a graduate student, anything a C- or above is considered passing.
Okay. And I have another question.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I have been trying to get like into the Blackboard where it says like username and password.
Yes.
And it's not letting me in. And I spoke with Thomas the other night during a workshop, and he said that someone was going to call me after the workshop was over to reset that, and no one has called.
Okay, more than likely, I think IT might have to help you. Do you want me to give the IT's information to you? I can just put it in the chat.
Yes, if you don't mind, please.
Yeah. Okay, my computer wants to work or load.
I'm just trying to remind you of everything. You
Sorry.
Blackboard the entire time.
Okay.
We tried. Haven't we?
Okay. If it wants to, I'm so sorry, guys. My computer says it's past 8, so let's not work anymore. Okay. That's the IT department. If you do want to give them a call, they should be available for you. But if it keeps becoming an issue, call the advising line and we can put in a ticket for you to troubleshoot with you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Absolutely. I'm going to put you off mute. Guys, again, I'm only going to take a couple more questions because I do want to respect everyone's time. So Virginia, I'm going to put you back off mute. Robin, you're going to be my last question. If anyone does raise their hand after Robin, I am going to have to call the advising line tomorrow. Raul, I just allow. Raul, where'd you go? Oh, goodness. Oh, perfect. Okay, Raul, you're back raising your hand. Okay, let me get you back off mute because you were second and something happened. Come on, computer. Okay, Raul, you are all set. You can come off mute and ask your question. And if you are speaking, we cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay.
So mine was more like towards the UF thing, and like I explained when I started school, like I broke my leg like 6 weeks ago, and
I'm so
so I
sorry.
mean it happens. It's part of life. I'll be okay. I'll be okay. So my thing is like I have constant, like last week I missed pretty much all week of class. Like I actually sat in on one discussion, I think, but I've just now gotten to where like I can get up, move around and work and stuff. So I worked a lot last week, which is probably dumb. But my thing is like, let's say like you have like a death in the family or something, and or just something medically wrong goes wrong, and you can actually prove that, would you still get the UF after, like, say you participated 6 weeks of this and something bad happens and you lose like the last 2 weeks, would you still get a UF or?
Good question. So a UF only occurs if you did not participate after week 4. So if you participate for 6 weeks, that's considered not a UF because you participate in week 6. Anything past unit 4 that you did not participate in, that's when you receive an under F.
Okay, all right. That was my only question, and thank you so much for answering it.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I hope you start to feel better, but I do appreciate that's an excellent question.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah.